Hey, Tolerators, it's me, Natalie, with your before show updates on all things Team Tolerator. So, we are sitting on the January, February, March side of life. And what does that look like? Well, it looks like the misogyny meltdown over on Patreon is well underway. That is a new series and show that I am producing for Patreon members only because there is a lot of scripting and a lot of vulnerability going on. I've already sang a song, I've already produced a skit, I'm already writing comedy. So go take a chance on the misogyny meltdown and the way that To All the Men I've Tolerated Before is expanding and evolving with the link in the show notes. For January, we celebrated the Misogynist of the Year award ceremony. For February, we are focusing on the concept of love and self love being part of the resistance. And in March, why, yes, we're still going to do seasonal things with celebrating International Women's Month. And all of that will be wrapped up into our new variety show, Misogyny Meltdown. I cannot wait for you to check it out. Jeramey.
Okay, could it potentially be Jeramey?
Yeah, maybe.
We're gonna emphasize that middle A.
Jeramey, like Geronimo.
Yeah.
And Laura. Hot take. I don't think Laura's all that mean. People are
People are like, Laura's so mean. And it's like, well, you don't watch Bravo, clearly. There are way meaner women out there.
I've never said this publicly. My siblings are named Jeramey and Laura, and so, well, my brother's since changed his name to Jeremiah, but for 32 years of my life, we called him Jeramey, and they were always Jeramey and Laura. It was never singular. They were always together. So then here comes this couple named Jeramey and Laura, and, like, it didn't click at first, and then when I typed it out to somebody, I was like, oh, shit, I am officially uncomfortable in another way.
So Jeramey or Jeramey. I think Laura's assertive. I think that the Hawaiian shirt thing started as a joke and then he got irritated but didn't know how to communicate that he was irritated. So he got passive aggressive and petty and then eventually fucked Sarah Ann.
I think it started that he liked that she was like, I'm not saying she wasn't mean at all. I think she was mean in like a fun way, sort of. Mostly, but like I think he was like into it. Like I think he liked that she was a little bit mean to him. And then they got to the real world and he was like, this might mean that I have to change. Like she's not just being mean to me to flirt with me. She wants me to have actions match this flirting and I don't want to change anything. I got recruited to do this show.
I have to work on myself? I would have to work on myself. And meanwhile, Sarah Ann, the glittering patriot, is just fine with me the way that I am.
Okay, the glittering patriot is there's something there.
I'm very smart.
You guys, I have a very different opinion of Laura than either of you. I think she's dangerous. I think she's dangerous to Black women. I think she
yeah, the beam flip.
Yeah, so, like, I think she's one of the girls who's like, I'm friends with everybody, I'm so delightful, because I was also enthralled by her charms and thought she was fun and pretty and all the things, and then the minute the bean dip thing happened, and then her lack of apologizing about it happening, but rather apologizing that people found out, I was like, nope.
So when I read that situation, and this could be my internalized bias, who would know, I immediately blamed Jeramey because I thought this is the sequence of events that I had in my brain. I was like, Laura and AD are maybe with the other women, maybe somewhere.
Because their friendship was so fun. Yeah.
They're somewhere this party adjacent. Laura probably cracks a joke that 80's not wearing a bra or something and does the bean dip thing and then explains what a bean dip is. She then tells her fiance in confidence, I just really had this cute like moment with 80 where I did that. And maybe 80 was fine with it. Maybe 80 wasn't fine with it and hadn't communicated that to Laura. But I think that Laura thought that her and 80 had a moment. She told her fiance. Her fiance then starts screaming about it. And now Laura's in a...
said that he was told by Laura to do it.
Right. And I still think that she didn't mean that. I was like...
It doesn't matter.
To me, it was like, he opened his mouth and then got insecure because he opened his mouth and there were consequences. And then she told him, no, that was me and you. And like Chelsea and Jimmy had a very similar conversation where it was like, no, that was me and you going back and forth. Why are you screaming?
So I feel like you're also still proving my point, which is behind closed doors, people who do not live in the world that I live in, which is colorful, or as a Black person, don't understand that even in private, that still translates into harmful behavior.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's the fact that they were caught, that they're like embarrassed by, not the fact that maybe they shouldn't be having that conversation in private, period, the end. Because, again, the hypersexualization of Black women. If it had been Brittany, context is completely different.
Okay.
So that's my issue.
I'm going to Google it. I didn't Google it because I forgot about I didn't Google it because I didn't remember it because I forgot about being mad at Jeramey about this.
I do. My only, and like, everything you said feels extremely like that is probably the situation. I want to know who came up with Bean Dip.
Yes.
Whose idea was it initially? Was it another person we never even met?
Is it something a part of Laura's culture, like her friendship group that they do all the time?
Is it something that AD taught Laura?
Right, because there's so many questions there.
Too many questions.
I don't know about your guys' friends group, but like my best friends and I, we literally do a cuddle snuggle huddle where we nap together, all spooning and playing with each other's hair. Am I gonna do that with you guys? Probably not. We're still getting to know each other.
Yeah, there's like, it's one of those things where it's like someone brought this into the pods.
Right, like imagine if I brought a cuddle snuggle huddle into the DR with my pod mates. Like, that's not gonna go well.
And that's why it's still so murky for me, because I need to know if bean dip is an actual phrase that people say, or if it's something like Laura said, hey, you don't have a bra on, and 80 went, we call that a bean dip, and then Laura did the blah 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 or whatever it was that caused 80's boob to go up and down.
Because we don't even see it happening between
we
them.
don't know if like everyone was doing it to each other.
Correct.
Yeah.
But again, with Netflix being the enemy now, they are perpetuating what we see all the time, especially right now because it's 2024 and we know that more white women in 2020 voted for Trump than they did in 2016, which translates to, and I know people could be like, okay, Julia, it's a stretch, but it's this little tiny things like that that translate into like actual behaviors on how you choose to make those decisions about voting and your belief systems and all those things that you can say all you want. You're really good friends, but my friends are Black, but if you're still in private saying things and doing things that are harmful, it doesn't matter if you have Black friends.
Yeah.
No. Well, I don't know. Fuck you, Laura and Jeramey, but mostly fuck the glittering patriot. I would like to talk about the glittering patriot right now.
Is that her glow name?
Yeah. She's not cool enough to be a lady wrestler. But
okay,
sure.
I'm just okay. Fair.
I understand Sarah Ann's logic behind her gaslighting on why she believes that the text was okay to send, where she's like, what? I just live in the real world. It's logical for me to believe that they might not work out and for him to know that he has a plan B. But Trevor had a plan B too. And Jimmy probably had plans that didn't involve Chelsea. And they probably all have plan Bs. And that's my problem with like dating websites, is that now I'm not just dating you. I'm dating you knowing that you have a plan B while I'm investing time in this.
Like, again, back to the experiment thing. So, Sarah, you basically just spit in the test tube, which is now going to skew the results.
Which is why Nick and Vanessa lectured us twice about the sanctity of Love is Blind.
Because it'd be different if everything ended, right? Like, Jeramey and Laura are done and over with. They've broken up, and that's that. And then Sarah does the, hey, door's still open. But you're in the middle of the experiment continuing. Like, that to me does feel very... I would have responded probably like Laura.
There's a big difference between in case things end, here I am, and I heard things ended, here I am.
It's a gaslight, Sarah, but it's not a very smart gaslight. We would have been okay with it if at the reunion you would have shown up and been like, yeah, I heard that like he thought Laura was mean, so I texted him and I was like, remember, I love you just the way you are. And he was like, oh my God, and you love America. I forgot. I'll switch out my Hawaiian shirts for American flag shirts. I'll call up that other dude.
And then we'll all go jet skiing.
We'll all go jet skiing. He did the one thing that like signifies to me, oh, this man is dangerous and he will continue to lie and mistreat you for the rest of your life. He did the preempt, you can't be mad at me because I was honest with you. And therefore, maybe I did a bad thing, but I told you about it. And therefore, why are you screaming? Which is also a gaslight, Jeramey, but not a smart one.
But yeah, he failed in it because, like, the tech never...
Yeah, because he wasn't honest.
Right. Yeah. Moron. Even your mom was like, you dumb. That was dumb. When his
mom showed up and was like, how dare, like, I would be mad at you too. I was like, thank God. Because, you know, so moms of boys, it's a whole thing. We all know there's a trope there. I hate it all. But, like, if she had been like, oh, babe, baby, I'm so sorry, kind of shit, I'd have been like, and now we know why he is like how he is. But she didn't. She was like, you're an idiot. And I was like, thank you. Taking one for
still
mom
remains a mystery.
But I think I think at the end of the day, he was intimidated by Laura in a way that he didn't expect to be intimidated, aka, will I have to work on myself? And then he was like, well, wait. That woman with the hair from Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. She loves me just the way that I am. And it's easy. And I think that misogyny teaches men to go for what is easy and not what is meaningful.
Yeah, Sarah Ann is not going to push back.
No. She's a trad wife.
Oh! I mean, look, I don't see her, like, you know, churning butter.
No, but she's definitely messy, and she's definitely the type that would rally the troops in the sense of, like, we're mad because they want to talk about gay books in the bookstore.
Yeah.
Her TikToks are unhinged, and it's very much, yeah, and they're all rallying calls, because I think I saw this on the news of all places, because Sarah Ann called herself a patriot.
Oh, Fox is like salivating for her now.
Yes. So now all of the conservative news outlets are like, finally, a woman we can root on TV. And she knows that. So now every one of her TikToks is like a rallying call for all of these, like...
She gonna do a partnership with Tommy Laharen next?
Like, I'm like, we get it. You love the people who RSVP'd yes to January 6th. I got it. You were in the Facebook group. You got an invite. You RSVP'd baby.
In the interview that she did with Vulture with Sarah Hagi, who is incredible, and was like, what? When you called yourself a patriot, what did you mean by that?
What did you mean?
And she was just like, oh, I just support the troops. Oh, is that all? Is that all you meant, Sarah Ann? The interview was wild.
Because it's 2001? Like, I don't know. Anyway.
What I understood about the TikToks who were trying to teach me about Sarah Ann and her January 6th RSVPs was that patriot has become a coded term, and it's like a signal term.
Oh, it's a dog whistle. Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like it always has been ever since 9/11.
Ever since Mel Gibson made that movie.
which I think was after 9/11, right?
I don't know.
But either way, like there was definitely a shift. And I don't know, because I was a senior in high school when 9/11 happened, so a large portion of our senior class, and that was the beginning of senior year. So at graduation, I want to say like 20% of my graduating class enlisted in the military.
Oh, God.
And then like at our 10-year reunion, 10% of that 20% had died in battle. So like the shift I saw as a person entering into adulthood who grew up with a parent who served in the military. We have a long-standing history of military service in our family, both sides, because my mom's side as well, because, you know, the Italian immigrants was like, we have to assimilate, we'll join the military, and served in World War II and all the things. So like the tone of the military and like that life of what my father experienced is not the same of what I witnessed of my peers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of people trying to dog whistle and give us red flags about their future endeavors, we've now arrived to AD and Clay.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Black Jesus, save us all.
Clay, who believes that cheating is hereditary.
Like, part of me is like, honey, like, how are you this way? Your mother is amazing.
You can't always save them.
I know.
And I feel like as much as like cheating is obviously not hereditary, he learned attitudes about he learned how to treat women from his parents. And so that does stick with you.
Yes, and he was the tool used for the cheating, right?
At least partially. Yeah.
This is why I believe women should not raise male children with men.
I am a firm believer that if you're going to go out on a limb and date a man, okay, sure, I've tried to tell you otherwise. You need to, once you've decided that you are attached to said man and you want him around a lot, you have to meet his dad. And then you have to watch how much he admires his dad. And if his dad is someone who grabbed your ass at dinner or made some gross joke about his mom or was mean to his mom or whatever, you immediately have to walk away based on the admiration level he has for his father.
Yeah, I will say and Natalie knows this, and there's an episode forthcoming about me raising a boy. One of the things that is always so confusing to me is how the grandfather and the son have such different approaches to fatherhood. Because if I was using that as an example, I would just assume, oh, my kid will have a great dad. But I do think that there is a big problem when it comes to just men's attitudes towards child rearing in general. And I stand by my previous statement. Especially if they need therapy, especially if they have problems, especially if they don't believe that they should support them in any way, shape, or form. Like, why do I have a child support? Like, if your attitude towards children is a burden, get the fuck out so I can do it by myself.
As we know, my mother was a Clay apologist because she loves to uplift mediocrity.
Well, I feel like Clay is more than mediocre. He's a damaged boy, which is what we love. Don't we love the damaged ones? We love the broken ones. And he's attractive. I would totally flirt with him if drunk.
Let's not forget, my mother chose to teach me about the birds and bees and sex through romance novels. She just handed me a stack of Laverne Spencer romance novels and was like, this will teach you all you need to know about where all of your holes are. And I'm like, okay. Thanks. And then when I had to learn about my period, she just handed me the American Girl doll book and was like, remember those holes? Like, maybe there's a diagram.
I'm sorry, wait, you got the romance novels before you learned about your period?
It was probably in the same year, Katie.
Okay.
Like, it was probably...
Okay.
Who's to say? Because I didn't get my period until I was a freshman in high school.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, that's not my experience. Okay, great. That does help things.
I got mine late. I was what you would call an advanced reader, meaning by the 4th grade, I was reading at collegiate level A. It got me underpaid and undervalued.
I will say that my mom didn't hand me a pile of romance novels, but I did read Summer Sisters when I was 12. and, you know, just went from, I was reading Wally Lamb too young, so I get it.
I mean, I got an abstinence-only education through religion, and look at how well that worked out.
I kind of feel like a romance novel is going to tell you more stuff.
They don't always address birth control.
No, but at least, like, it better than abstinence programs.
It does interrupt, like, the flow of the sex scene to be like, and then before he pressed me up against the shower, he pulled out a condom.
No,
like,
I read one recently where they did it really well. Go ahead, Katie.
Was it Emily Henry?
I think it's Emily Henry.
She's really good at it.
See? They're getting better. They're getting better.
Was it in Beach Read where there's just a bowl by the door?
It's Beach Read, yeah.
I don't even have sex with men, but I also just have like a container of condoms hanging out in my house.
Always. It's like a regular
you never know.
You just don't know. And I've got teenagers, like...
Yeah, impossible to know.
It's not that far away from the last time I got gaslit.
Clay and AD are a hot mess. At this current moment, you guys, I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to believe. I want AD to be interviewed by Tamron Hall as penance for Tamron for interviewing Clay.
I will say that one, I'm so happy that AD and Clay are not together, because when she was like, we won't be together if we don't get engaged, and he was like, cool, I am not going to retain this information. And then, but she was like, great, I will. I will say that a previous Big Brother Canada winner, who I love and do follow on Instagram, he is a big Clay fan. And one thing that is a big part of his Instagram presence and just like general social media presence is like encouraging, paying attention to mental health as for Black men specifically, and how there's like not enough attention paid, and like how therapy is important. And, like, it's like checking in, like, being vulnerable is strength. Like, it's, like, really great stuff. And he's just, like, Clay has been doing his best. He's working on it. He's, like, talking, you know, I guess, like, now and I, like, maybe just, like, didn't retain this because I don't listen very hard when he speaks. But, like, did he say at the reunion that he's in therapy now?
Yes, and then on Tamron Hall, which I saw a clip against my will, he said that he even went and got a different therapist that is a better fit. So, like, he has the wherewithal to understand that you need to find the right therapist. My issue is, and I think I DM'd you, Katie, about it, is I need you to go through this process
and
then come and do the apology tour.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that's true. This guy's, his, like, whole thing is he's like, everyone hates Clay so much. I just think it's important that we recognize that this man is trying, and we don't always get to see that.
Yeah, fair.
He's the exact kind of apologist my mother has been for Clay, because my mom's like, I just feel like his dad showing up got real in his head, and then he had to think about the weight of his dad and his dad's actions, and then he said no. And I was like, Mom, it would have been one thing if it ended there. I go, but then he follows her back to the bridal suite and still tries to get him some, AD.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he should have just stopped.
He should have left her alone.
He should have left her the fuck alone. And it's the whole idea that I was watching an interview with AD, and she was talking, it's on relationships. And she was talking about how off camera, Clay used a lot of like boundary therapy, love affirming language with her. Like, I'm going to work on this. I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for us, this, that, and the other. And then on camera, it was, my dad's a cheater. I'm just going to end up a cheater. I don't deserve you. And she couldn't figure it out. Why? And she thinks it was anxiety making him do it like in front of the cameras. And I was like, well, his anxiety was making him tell you like his truth, because I do think it is very simple for us to lie and be lied to when it's private, when we're in like private and we have control of the discussion and the narrative. But when you're just like surrounded by people and you're like, my dad's a cheater, I'm a cheater, like it all, like you're focusing on so many things that like all of a sudden your truth starts to come out. And what I basically told my mom was, I was like, he can go work on it. Love that. Please do. But I'm tired of these men walking into my life, walking into my time, stealing my time, and then telling me I guess I was just a bad guy all along, right? And now it's supposed to be my mental and emotional labor to like walk you through how you can accomplish being a good person.
Yeah, I think to Katie's point about the guy who's like, oh, he's doing the work and Black men's mental health is so important. For me, I think it would be more powerful had he just been like, I'm in therapy, I'll pop up later. Because now he is getting attacked, which actually isn't helping the cause for demystifying and destigmatizing mental health in the Black community. It's actually probably doing the opposite, which is showing people like, see, if I go get therapy, people are going to still fuck around on me kind of shit. You know what I mean?
And it's like, so now like Clay's friend is popping up being like, AD had a sugar daddy the whole time and that's what he meant about her finances. Like, we don't need that. And if you weren't trying to defend Clay so much, he like wouldn't be saying that.
Right. Which is a bummer because as I learned, because the Breakfast Club hosted Candace Owens the other day, and that was hard.
What a combination of words.
Some of the comments in the section, I was like, oh, there's a lot of Black people like Candace Owens. This is hard. That it's like it's that affirmingness of it, right? And so to bring it back to Clay, it's like people who are like, see, therapy's bad, you're just gonna get like all these things. Why am I gonna work so hard? Because people are gonna be mad about it and they're still gonna treat me like shit, and like it doesn't matter.
Do we have any last and final thoughts about season 6 of Love is Blind, The War on Women?
It was so fucking messy.
It was messy. It was painful to watch.
But also fun?
Yeah. Also better than season 5.
I mean, we came back every time.
And, okay, I think we just spent a lot of time talking about Clay, and AD has come up in a lot of people's stories because she was the glue, and she is great, and we just need to make it very clear that we love her.
AD all day, the original girl's girl, the one who's going to put the glittering patriot in her fucking place and be like, that's not how we play the DM game. That's not how we do. And then when you try to gaslight AD about why your logic checks out, and she's like, I'm telling you, that's not how we play the DM game. Are you looking at Laura? Are you realizing that she's hurt? Do I think that Sarah Ann would have ever approached Laura during that party if AD had not shamed her? No.
If the producers made her?
Maybe.
That, honestly, that AD confrontation was chef's kiss. Like, perfect. And she was flawless in execution. She stood her ground. It was beautiful.
AD should have chosen Bachelor Nation, even though I've stopped watching, because she would have made a fabulous contestant that would have then made a fabulous Bachelorette.
I think that she made the right call by not going to Bachelor Nation because of how terrible Bachelor Nation is, sort of as in a collective audience kind of way, that like she would have gotten so like, if she would have either gone home really early or gotten a lot of hate on the internet. It would have been like literally one or the other, and so I think she absolutely made the right call there.
The Bachelor Nation fans have got to be stopped. They're so gross. It's
quite tough.
But that's not why we're here today for this 2-parter episode. they're just racist. We know why they're gross.
I mean, I know, and I'm not Bachelor Nation, so when it like seeps into my world, you know it's a problem.
We end every episode of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before with a lesson that we would like you to carry from this episode and season 6 of Love is Blind, and a manifestation, so that maybe Netflix will do better, or we'll stop watching, or relationships will be represented well for young brains and gaslit brains and insecure brains to start taking information in about healthy love, as we like to call it. Who has a lesson that they've learned from Love is Blind season 6?
I will say, as you know, Natalie, I started the beginning of the year doing a really big deep dive into what my beliefs of love are, and like what that outwardly looks like, how I want to define love, all the things. I read a lot of like love-centered, not romance novels, but like people analyzing love and sort of like taking a look at it, you know, in an anthropological kind of way, if you will. And had I not done that, I probably would have had a very different opinion of Love is Blind. Because now that I'm like genuinely intentional about how I give the love that I give and seek the love that I'm seeking, it has been a game changer. Because a lot of that toxic shit that happened in season 6, I saw in my past relationships. So I guess what I learned from Love is Blind season 6 is that I have grown.
Hey.
That's so nice.
Caitie, did you learn anything about anything? Did you learn anything from today's conversation or Love is Blind season 6?
That's a great question. I don't think that I learned anything from Love is Blind season 6.
Yeah.
Except that I will continue to watch this nonsense forever.
Same.
I think what I learned from our conversation is that it's important to consider when you're like, that girl's just being funny and mean. It's important to consider the implications of who she's being funny and mean about and where. And maybe we need to be looking a little bit harder.
I think mine connects to yours because my lesson is it's all fun and good to watch the season and get fooled by the edit. And usually I get like a little when someone who's a little bit more experienced in TV production or in reality TV tells us like, well, that was edited that way, because I'm like, oh, I want to escape. But when it comes to toxic seasons like this one of Love is Blind, it is important to actually like get into the TikToks of these people and watch Sarah Ann make battle cries. And it's important to watch the like women's point of view of how their season went compared to what was shown on Netflix. And it's important to maybe follow a sports influencer who's like, plays a person, that's important. But I think what Netflix isn't going to give us content. They're not going to give us context. They're going to give us
entertainment.
They're going to give us entertainment and call it a story and an experiment and call it love. And I am now at the point in my reality TV viewing where I've watched one too many Real Housewives franchises where I'm like, no, I get everyone's context because these women are just truthful and they'll just tell me. And then they have an Andy Cohen to be like, wait, is that how you really feel? So I'm ready for more. Do we have a hope or a wish for everyone moving forward?
Oh my God. My immediate hope is that Netflix gets their shit together and starts, stop perpetuating these really bad tropes and stereotypes that are harmful to our society as a greater whole. But my hope is that, I don't know. My hope is that people do the work to understand what kind of love they need and wish to receive and wish to give, and not in the my church told me this is what it's like kind of way.
I think my hope is that as part of whatever the influence is from these lawsuits that made them show a lot of scenes of food in the kitchen, the next phase of those developments are that they start paying for therapists immediately once these people get out of the pods.
I love that. I think my manifestation is when JD and I played Feminist Icon, ? During the misogyny meltdown for March, one of the feminist icons that I quizzed him on was Morticia Adams. And it was because I believe that young girls, old girls, middle-aged girls, me, and men, and non-binaries, and queer people deserve to see women loving men and men loving women and people loving their partners, and that be the end of the sentence, because that's what the Adams did for me. The Adams was one of the first influences I got of a husband is supposed to love you. A husband is supposed to want you. A husband is a person who only speaks nice things about you.
I love that because I do think that they are a couple to aspire to. I've been recently rewatching The Last Kingdom, which is like before England becomes one united nation. And what's interesting about Uhtred's group of dames and outcasts is that they're the only group of men that the women feel safe with because they don't do the horrible things to the women. Like they treat the women with respect and kindness. And I mean, obviously there's the power structure of that early era where, you don't always listen to the women because they're women, but like every woman that comes into their circle is like, oh, this is nice to not have to be worried about being harmed. And you're just like, yeah, that's pretty much what it's like when you find a group of men that you can be safe with. It's so nice.
Caitie, do you have anything you'd like to plug? Anything you'd like to recommend? Anything you'd like to feel like you should be doing this or watching this?
No.
Okay. I'm going to do Caitie's for her. Caitie has a friend on one of my favorite platforms, Dropout TV, who is running the show.
Yeah, okay, great. Great idea.
Great idea. Very important people. Their name is Vic Michaelis. Vic is very nice sometimes to discuss episodes with me because I'm sure a creepy super fan at this point.
Vic is the best.
Vic is the best. Dropout is the best. I told you this during the March Misogyny Meltdown. If you at any point are giving money to Netflix, to Showtime, to all of these streaming services, Dropout TV is like $5 to $7. I forget because I just subscribe and then that's the rest of my life. And
it's quite affordable.
It's quite affordable. And they're doing really good, really anti-capitalistic, really anti-racist, really anti-misogyny comedy and work there. Julia, what's your plug?
Buy my shit. Buy my shit.
Yeah, buy Julia's stuff. It's so good.
JuliaWashingtonProductions.com. The cards are funny and clever. They're literary puns that are a little spicy, or they're, just pretty and great for every occasion. And it's like a little piece of art that you can send somebody. It's so cute. And my candles are literary inspired by them.
And tolerators, you know where to find me. It's Men I've Tolerated Pod on Instagram. All of Caitie's kind of plug and Julia's plugs will be in the show notes. And make sure that you're following us on Patreon. If you subscribe to any of our paid tiers, you get some sort of bonus material, whether it be ad-free episodes, secrets that I've cut from episodes and went, oh no, my dad will be big bad. Cut it, put it behind the paywall. Secrets, check-ins. The Misogyny Meltdown is the only comedy show where we're taking all of the misogynistic bullshit that's been thrown to us and making laughter out of it. And remember, tolerators, you don't have to smile through anything you're tolerating, including Nick Lachey looking you dead eye in a fucking camera, begging you to bully him as he groans and whines about the sanctity of his love experiment while also creating edits that demean relationships, women, and people of color. Smiles are for joy.